Good morning, students. So, as we are discussing the preparation properties of the elements of P block elements, and nitrogen was quite a long topic. Again, phosphorus is also quite a long topic. So, I'm trying to make a kind of a graphical map, infographic kind of a map, which can make your learning faster and easier. Okay, so in order to save your time, I have jotted down things beforehand. Here you will see that what is written at the top is phosphorus, allotropes of phosphorus and their compounds. Now phosphorus is what? Phosphorus is a non-metal. It exists as white phosphorus in nature. It exists as white phosphorus in nature. White phosphorus is monomeric, P4 unit. It is monomeric, P4 unit, and it is three-dimensionally arranged in such a way that the bond angle between the phosphorus and phosphorus is 60 degree. Okay, so naturally occurring form of phosphorus is white phosphorus. Now white phosphorus can also have some allotropes. Allotrope means various form of the same element. It could be natural allotropes also or man-made allotropes also. So red phosphorus is obtained when white phosphorus is heated at 573 Kelvin. Okay, and when white phosphorus is further heated, then it undergoes various stages of black phosphorus. So first it forms black phosphorus at 473 Kelvin. Obviously after that red phosphorus will be formed, and after that alpha phosphorus is formed, alpha black phosphorus is formed at 803 Kelvin in a sealed tube. Okay, so this is the thing. It is not that white phosphorus, red phosphorus and black phosphorus, they all occur naturally. White phosphorus is quite reactive. It is very reactive. When it is put in water, it reacts with the oxygen and it gives chemiluminescence. P4O10 molecule is formed. So this will be 5 times. So it is highly reactive. And when put in water or when it reacts with water, it gives chemiluminescence. Chemiluminescence means a light-giving property of any chemical. So it glows in open air because it burns to form P4O10. So this is spontaneous. It takes place on its own. This is property of phosphorus. So naturally occurring form of phosphorus is white phosphorus. It exists as monomer, 1 unit of P4. Bond angle between phosphorus and phosphorus should be 60 degree angle. When it is heated at 573 Kelvin, it forms red phosphorus. When it is heated at 473 Kelvin, it forms beta black phosphorus. And when red phosphorus is heated at 803 Kelvin in sealed tube, then it forms alpha black phosphorus. Alright, so there are 3 types of temperature. One is 573, then 473 and then 803 Kelvin. So at 573 red phosphorus is formed. Red phosphorus is iron gray colored luster. It has got iron gray colored luster. At 473, before forming red phosphorus, it forms alpha black phosphorus. And when red phosphorus is formed at 573 Kelvin, then after red phosphorus is heated at 803 Kelvin at sealed tube, it forms alpha black phosphorus. Keep in mind that phosphorus does not burn at any temperature below 673 Kelvin. So 673 Kelvin, below that it does not burn. So it keeps on changing its allotropic forms. Now white phosphorus is monomeric and it is highly reactive, but red phosphorus is very less reactive and it exists as polymer unit of P4 monomer. So see each of these P4, they are forming a chain. Each of these P4, they are forming a chain, and a long chain kind of a molecule is formed to form P4 units. So we will try to remember the properties or the occurrence. We will try to remember the occurrence of phosphorus. Also, there is only one reaction in the property of phosphorus. This will reoccur also in the preparation of phosphine. This reaction is going to reoccur when phosphorus is boiled in alkaline water. Then it forms phosphine and sodium hypophosphite is formed. Sodium hypophosphite is formed. This can be balanced very easily. So this is 3 phosphorus, this is 1 phosphorus, so 4 phosphoruses are there. Okay, so we will see how much we can recall. Questions always act as an envelope for learning. So if I write phosphorus naturally occurs as, keep on filling before me. Second, P4 is a reactive monomeric unit called DAS. White phosphorus when heated at dash Kelvin, it forms red phosphorus. If white phosphorus is to monomer, then red phosphorus should be equal to what? Fifth. Red phosphorus heated at 473 Kelvin and heated at 803 Kelvin. No. Red phosphorus heated at 803 Kelvin gives what? And white phosphorus heated at 473 Kelvin gives what? This is done in sealed tube. Seven P4 plus NaOH in water is boiled to form dash and dash. 8 P4 plus O2 at around 673 Kelvin heat gives what? Now if you can remember the previous chart, you will be able to fill up the answers very easily. If not, if you refer and do it two times, at least 2 times if you will do without saying, you will be able to remember the allotropes of phosphorus and related concepts. Phosphorus naturally occurs as white phosphorus. Am I right? If I am right, then tell me if I am right. If I am wrong, then tell me if I am wrong. P4 is a reactive monomeric unit called as, again, white phosphorus. White phosphorus when heated at dash Kelvin forms red phosphorus. At how much Kelvin it forms red phosphorus? At 573 Kelvin it forms red phosphorus. Red phosphorus at 803 Kelvin in a sealed tube when heated it forms. There are two possibilities, alpha phosphorus or beta phosphorus. Now tell me, when at 803 Kelvin what kind of phosphorus will be formed? And at 473 Kelvin what type of phosphorus will be formed? At 473 Kelvin, at 803 we form alpha black phosphorus in sealed tube, and at 473 it will form beta black phosphorus. P4 with NaOH means alkaline water when boiled forms PH3, and sodium hypophosphite. So phosphite is PO2 3 minus. So we can take 1 sodium and 2 hydrogen. So how can we balance it? If we make it 3, then 3 phosphorus will be there, and 1 phosphorus, 4 phosphorus. Phosphorus is balanced. This is 6 hydrogen, so we'll make it 6 hydrogen here. What else? This is 3 sodium, so we'll make it 3 sodium here. So it is balanced now. So when P4O2 is heated, it forms phosphorus oxide, P4O10, as simple as that, 5 times. So in this way you can remember the properties of allotropes of phosphorus. I will try to balance. 4 is already there. This is 12. This is 2. So we'll give 6 here. So chlorine becomes 12. Sulfur, if I give 4 over here, then this is 12 and 12 plus 4, 16. So then it has to be 8. If it is 8, then 4 sulfur here and 4 sulfur here, it is balanced. What are the reactions? We can take calcium phosphide, Ca3P2, and react it with H2O. It will form CaOH whole twice plus pH3. We can balance it accordingly. This is 2, so we'll make it 2. This is 3, we'll make it 3. Same reaction can happen if I take calcium phosphide and HCl. It will form CaCl2 plus PH3. Method of balancing will be same. 2 here, 3 is here, so 3 here, and 6 HCl. Here, how many? 3 H2O. Another way is we can take PH4I and treat it with KOH. It will form Ki plus H2O plus PH3. This was preparation of PCl3. This was preparation of phosphine. These 3 reactions. This was preparation of phosphine. And how we can prepare PCl5. PCl5 also can be prepared in the same way. This was 3rd reaction, 4th reaction, 5th reaction, say 6th reaction. If I take phosphorus and if I give lots of chlorine atom in this, say 10 chlorine molecules, we form PCl5 and we balance it 4 times 6. We can take P4, treat it with SO2, Cl2. It will form PCl5 plus 10 SO2. So in this way, we can remember the reactions required to prepare PCl3, phosphorus trichloride, PH3, phosphine, and phosphorus pentachloride, PCl5. The structure of these 3 are known to all of us. PCl3 is tetrahedral. PH3 is also tetrahedral. And PCl5 is trigonal bipyramidal. Now, how to remember these reactions? These reactions can be remembered by doing some self-assessment of learning or self-assessment for learning. Alright, so we can take some questions like what happens when, based questions, and then we can prepare or we can practice, so we'll be able to recall it. So I'll make a question out of all these and then I will ask. I hope you will be able to answer very easily. P4 plus calcium and heat. P4 plus chlorine limited, P4 plus chlorine in excess, P4 in NaOH plus water, boil. Fill it up. What will be formed here? This will form PCl3. This will form PCl5. This will form calcium phosphide, Ca3P2, and this will form PH3 plus NaH2PO2. Okay. Now if you treat this with H2O and if you treat this with HCl, then it will form CaOH whole twice plus PH3. This will form CaCl2 plus PH3. Balancing can be done very easily. That is not a problem ever. What else is left? P4 plus SOCl2 will form PCl3 plus SO2 gas and H2Cl2. If it is treated with SO2Cl2, then it will form PCl5 plus SO2 gas only. Balancing can be done. It's just a chart to remember. Now PH3 plus HI. If I give PH3 plus HI, or HBr or HX, what will it form? It will form PH4I. This PH4I is nothing but PH3 plus HI. Now, so if you treat it with KOH, obviously PH3 will come out, Ki will be formed, and H2O will come out. So this was the scheme of the reaction. So if you practice it in a linear manner, after that if you make this chart, you will be able to remember the reactions first, and after that you have to apply your skill for balancing the reactions to get the balanced chemical reaction. So in this way you will be able to remember the reactions involved in the preparation of phosphorus pentachloride, phosphorus trichloride and phosphine. Alright, this is the way we can mug up the reactions, learn the reactions and remember it in the exam also. In my next class, I will be telling you about the oxo acids of phosphorus. There are a few oxo acids of phosphorus and there are a few reactants to be remembered for that. Their structures, their reducing ability, their ability to give out hydrogen, all that we will see in our next class, because this video will become longer for uploading. It will become difficult to upload and you will not have so much of time to observe these two. Okay, so I will make a separate video and I will give you strategy to remember those reactions also. Okay, before exam you will have to remember these reactions a number of times, because if you revise, recall, then only you will be able to remember in the exam. So write, remember, recall, revise, and then only you will be able to recall in the exam. Okay, so there are various R's. R means first read, then write, then remember, then recall, then revise, and then only you will be able to write in the exam. Okay, so follow this R principle and prepare these charts and keep it in front of your study table on the walls, so that slowly and slowly, without any effort of reading, just by looking at things, you will be able to recall things in the exam. Okay, so to recall things in the exam or recall answers in the exam, if you have to allow your eyes and brain to remain with the topic throughout the year, so that your eyes can absorb those knowledge and can store in the brain. But if you keep your eyes closed, if you do not expose your sense organs to the concept or the book, it will be difficult to recall, because a healthy brain has a tendency to forget things. Okay, so forgetting is not a bad thing, forgetting is a good thing, it is a healthy thing. But if you forget before exam, then you will be in a different class, and if you forget after exam, okay, then you will be in a different class. So you have to see that in which class you want to come. So try to remember these things at least till your examination. All right, after that, if required, then you can revise and you can use this, or you can follow your textbook. But up till exam, you have to keep these things in your mind. So you can make wall graffiti in your study room. In wall graffiti, you can put chart papers, and in those chart papers you can make this kind of mind maps and remember. That is the way we used to do in our school time. Thank you.